Oh, hey guys, welcome to my home office. So, this is the place where I spend a lot of my time in the evenings going over sales bills and looking at websites and stuff and trying to find good deals on used machinery. And in fact, on the other day, I was at a farm sale and a gentleman come up to me and asked me, "Where do you find all that stuff that's on your lot?" And I thought, hey, that might not be a bad idea to share that information with you guys, because I know a lot of you are out there looking for a certain piece of something, and maybe equipment wise, and maybe you're looking for something used and cheap and affordable. So why don't you come sit down with me here and let me show you some places where you guys can find good cheap equipment. Alright guys, we're going to start out here with the four main online auction sites that I use. These sites are not where all my equipment comes from that's on my lot. I do buy some stuff off these things that do end up on the lot, but most of the time they're really good for finding what the sale price for whatever piece of equipment you're looking for, roughly what it's selling for, so you kind of know what you're going to spend. First of all, we're going to start off with Purple Wave. Purple Wave is probably the most popular of all the online auction sites there is out there. It's a very simple site to use, very easy process to get registered, and the best part about it is once you are registered, that day you can start bidding on stuff. That's not always the case, which we'll go over here in a minute. You can find about anything and everything that you're looking for on here, sometimes more than you ever want to find. You can get into some of these auctions, these government auctions will have school stuff and on and on and on, but it's a really good place to find a good sell price. It's not the place to buy. Because it is the most popular online auction site out there, I don't really feel that there's any good deals to be had on here. Everything pretty much brings full retail. Which brings us to move on to the next site, Big Iron. Big Iron is probably the second most popular online auction site. I've used them for years. I very much enjoy bidding on here. I've bought a lot of stuff. I've also sold a lot of stuff on here. And I've also sold a lot of stuff on Purple Wave. I've done much better selling stuff on Purple Wave than I ever have buying. But this site is a very simple process to get registered. You are going to have a period of wait before you can start bidding. They have to verify you and stuff. But otherwise, besides that, very simple site to navigate, very simple site to use, some good deals to be found. The majority of stuff on the site is going to be farm machinery. And it also kind of gives you a good rough base of what you're looking for price wise out there when you are shopping. Let's move on to the next one, guys. So here's one most of you have probably never heard of because they are the newest. They're about 3 years old. GavelRide was started by a gentleman in Winfield, Kansas, an auctioneer down there called Gene Francis. The majority of this stuff, guys, is going to be in Kansas. So if you're not from Kansas, you're going to have a little bit of a road trip to come pick up what you buy. Also on this site, unlike Big Iron and Purple Wave, a lot of these items will have a minimum bid, and they'll be hidden minimum bids. So if a tractor, they want $10,000 for it, the tractor will start out at 0, and by the end of the auction, it will crawl up close, if not to, the minimum bid. So if you're willing to give more than the minimum bid, you're going to win the item on here. If not, you're not. I have bought a few things from here. I've got some really good deals on stuff. I picked up a Fortune Major backhoe one time. Took just a tiny bit of work to bring it to life again. I only gave $500 for it. We had a very good return on that sale. But I do recommend them. They're good people, and it's a small company, so if you have any problems or any questions, you just call Gene, and the girls in the office will take really good care of you. So we'll move on to the last and final of my online auction sites I like to use. Many of you and all of you will probably know Auction Time. Auction Time's probably they're advertised everywhere. You've seen the catalogs in that are in the gas station or wherever. When you do get registered with them, and it does take a little bit to get registered. I think it took me 3 or 4 weeks before I could start bidding on this site. But once you do get registered and are able to bid, the mailbox will be full of those catalogs. So be prepared for that. If that's not something you want, I do believe there's an option to opt out of them, but I have not figured out how to do that. But also on this site, guys, you need to learn that the majority of the people that you're going to be bidding against to try to buy items on this site are going to be dealers like me. So most time their pockets might be just a tad bit deeper than yours. But this is the best site when it comes to finding out what is my piece of equipment worth. If I'm going to sell such and such piece of equipment, what is the value? I like to go in here. They have an area where you can look at previous auctions, and I have for an example, a 930 case, Wheatland on my lot. You guys know how I'm kind of partial to those anyways, but I can go in here and say, okay, what have they been selling for here recently? And I go into Auction Time and I can see, okay, the last 3 auctions they brought 1,600, 1,200, blah blah blah, and that kind of gives me an idea because that's where the market's sitting on them. And I use them a lot to when I get something in that I really don't know what the value is, or I'm not really comfortable with putting it out on the lot because I think it's worth this much, but maybe it's not. So I use them a lot for that purpose there. So that kind of covers my online auction sites that I use. So let's move on to the next part. The other places that I would recommend for you guys to look when trying to find used equipment. So you're all familiar with Craigslist. Everybody uses Craigslist, but this is a good site to find equipment on. Sometimes you can find a deal, sometimes you can't. But we've all used Craigslist, and I do recommend it. Just be careful. I mean, it's a dangerous world out there, and you don't know what you're getting into, and especially with Craigslist. So let's move on to one here that I don't think most of you heard of before. So this is Nextech. I always jokingly call this the Western Kansas Craigslist because the majority of this stuff is based out of Western Kansas. But every area has a spin-off of Craigslist, and that's what this is. And sometimes you can find really good deals on here. You're going to find stuff that's also posted on Craigslist, but a lot of times you're going to find stuff that they've only posted here. And I recommend all of you guys to look and see if in your area you don't have something like Nextech that is an offshoot of Craigslist for a certain region of your state. Check it out, look it over. There's going to be deals for you to find there. And then last but not least, every area has a free rural newspaper. And if you look here in Kansas, ours is called the Rural Messenger. It's in every grocery store. It's in every Orscheln's. It's in every TSC. It's in every farm supply store there is. Pick one up. Go through those classifieds. There's always a deal. And if there's not a deal, it at least gives you an idea what people out there are thinking that they want for the machinery that they have for sale. Plus, by using those papers, you are supporting a small town local newspaper, even if they are statewide, and I highly recommend that. Last but not least, the best and the absolute best place to find your used machinery, and I would say 90% of the stuff on my lot comes from this, and that is your local farm auction. Every area is going to have a site similar to this one. Here in Kansas, we have kansasauction.net. A lot of times you'll find pretty much every auction going on in the state on a site like this. A lot of auctioneers won't advertise on a site like this, and they'll have their own personal website. Pick out your favorite auctioneers, the ones that you trust, because not all auctioneers are equal and not all auctioneers are trustworthy. but pick out the ones that you're most comfortable with, or the ones that you know in your area that gets the most farm sales. Save those websites to your computer and search them weekly. Check every week. They're always going to be putting up new auctions, especially during the auction season. And the auction season runs from February to the end of November, sometimes into December, but January, usually not too many farm sales going on. But go through them, check them out, look them over, find what you're looking for. But the thing about a farm auction is, though, if you're looking for one particular piece of equipment, you may stare at auction bills for a long, long time before that one piece comes up. But it's a good place to go out and try to find what you're looking for. And it's a good time. I mean, it's a social event. Go out, have fun, enjoy the day, hang out with the fellow farm people in your area, and it's a good way to support your community too. So I highly recommend farm auctions, and I will admit that I'm a bit of an auction junkie. So that would be my number one recommendation when looking for used farm machinery. So I hope that helps you on your hunt for that perfect piece of used machinery that you've been looking for. We gave you several different places that you can look, and I shared with you some of my tips and stuff that I use on those sites. So thank you again for watching another Crazy D's Equipment, and please share and please like and please tell your friends, and thank you guys so much for even coming in and watching this. So I appreciate it, and thank you. So I'm going to get back to checking auctions here. We'll be back with you guys later.